Okay, the road's just, I was just coming out of the scrub. Okay, so I was just coming out of the scrub and I passed the road. I'm heading to the beach. And this is like a bit of a weed area, just north of Tyree. So it's a bit of a weed area, a lot of lantana, bindo bush, bit of a weed area, not that far from the road. So it's kind of following this little bit of a track. Very bright, hard to photograph, guys. So again, lantana there, that's the lantana. Up here's the beach, you can probably just hear the beach in the distance, and came across a little abandoned camp. Alright. I do find these interesting, I have to say. I always cast an eye over it, and just, if I've got time, and just try and determine who was here, what they did, look at the disturbance, and try and figure out as much as I can about the person and what happened here, you know what I mean, and do a little bit of detective work. I kind of look at it as tracking, alright, as part of tracking, is where you look at human activity in the bush, okay. So obviously we have a tent here, okay, just to explain, that's my canteen there, and that's my hat, alright, that's a 2-quart canteen. So, you know, we have a tent here, okay, there's two areas, there's a tent area, and then there seems to be what is a fire pit area. Very hard to photograph, guys, because of the light, but bear with me. So, with the tent, obviously it's collapsed, and there's a lot of charring and everything, alright. If we have a close look, you can see it's nylon, you can tell it's been exposed to fire, okay. Now there's a little bit of, in this paper bark tree here, there's a little bit of charring on that, and it looks like somebody's pulled some of the bark from that tree, you can see there. Looks like some's been ripped off. But there hasn't been if you have a look around, you look at the other trees, there hasn't been a bushfire through here in a long time. So all this sort of fire damage was probably done by the person who was here. Alright, so as you can see, we have some vegetation coming over the tent. Alright, this is a local native called scurvy weed. Okay. So we'd kind of suggest about a year since the tent collapsed, you know what I mean? Maybe a bit longer, you know what I mean? There's not any really big major plants growing out of it or anything like that, and just at a guess by the level of fading. Alright, so that would be my guess. So we have one of those cheap butane camp stoves, okay? These are cheap to buy, I think they're about $15. We've got a couple of cheap kind of the kind of pans you get at the charity shop, yard sale, car boot sales, whatever, that kind of thing. Alright, just old ones you would pick up for cheap. So there's a frying pan, there's two of these smaller pots, there's another one over there. There's a lot of scouring pads, and this is washing up detergent. Alright, so it's relatively well organized, and we have something, there's a jar here that's something that's wash. Just says wash, that's all I can make out. This looks like a mirror, like a vanity mirror. This looks like mouthwash. This looks like some kind of alcohol, not sure. Cheap whiskey maybe. It's hard to make out, but definitely alcohol bottle. Okay, so a little bit of organisation, some kind of personal hygiene going on there, and you know, taking care of themselves a little bit. They're washing up their pots and pans. So we've got another small aluminium pot there, okay, and then this is kind of like the second area. We've got a few rocks here, okay, all fire damaged. Again, another scour. There's a lot of these scouring pads all over the place. Alright, a little bit of charring, some kind of plastic object there. So this seems to be the fire pit, campfire area. There's a lot of evidence here, alright, and it kind of suggests older male. Alright, so just to the left, we've got a few alcohol bottles, and one of them is Victoria Bitter, which is not a young person's drink, okay, it's more of an older person's drink, and these look like VB, okay. This one's a couple of medicine bottles, I'm not sure what kind of medicine, the vodka, VB, again, usually a little bit more older male would drink VB, okay, not a young person's drink, okay. So fire pit, a few tins of food, we have this book on fishing, alright, which is a non-fiction book on fishing. We have what's pretty sure is not sunglasses, is spectacles, like reading glasses. A pair of scissors, which is look like first aid scissors, but could be used for fishing. And not a fan myself. AC/DC Live, again a little bit more older person, alright. And I did find an unused condom, alright. So see if it has expiry date on it. Expiry date is 2013, the 5th 2013, so it's now 2015, so it's 2 years out of date, alright. So that's kind of telling. So take it they didn't have a very active sex life, alright. And those kind of condoms, they're the ones you usually get for free at like health centres and those kind of things. If the ones I always see when they hand out free condoms, that's usually the one you see. So yeah, I think older person, the condom certainly suggests, you know, a younger bloke, maybe sort of, you know, a teenager, but everything else suggests older male, possibly homeless, almost certainly homeless, certainly alcohol, and they left a hell of a mess. Anyway, that's what I've determined from this site. Again, I look at this as tracking. I look at it as disturbance, as understanding how the bush reclaims stuff and how things, you know, how things go down and all that kind of stuff. But pretty interesting. I think I've pretty much got a good picture of the person, you know. They'd be fishing out there in the sea, cooking, local town down the road where they'd probably get a few basic supplies, you know what I mean, and probably pass their time reading books as well. There's another book down here which looks like a crime novel, like a cheap pulp fiction type thing. But there you go, little abandoned camp.